Hello, this is Jadwiga again with a new, not fairy tale, but myth from the old Greek. And it's about how our planet Earth was inhabited. The gods on Mount Olymp were bored, terribly bored, because since centuries, since millennia, nothing had happened. And they knew for the next centuries and the next millennia, nothing would happen either. And being immortal can be a real punishment if nothing happens. So they went to their highest boss, to Zeus, and said, Zeus, something has to happen. We are so bored. We want entertainment. We want amusement. We want to see something. We want action. We want maybe even resistance, but we want to stop this terribly boring life. Now Zeus knew he had to do something, or otherwise he would have a real serious problem. So he took a huge amount of clay, called his extended family and said, well, take this clay and create whatever you think. Create any creature that comes to your mind. Tiny ones, middle ones, huge ones. Give them whatever you want, 1 leg, 2 legs, 3 legs, wings, whatever. Just be creative. And this was real fun. So everybody went and formed some figures from clay, and soon it was so crowded with all these clay figures that nobody could walk anymore. And so Zeus called Prometheus. And Prometheus, he was not a god, he was not immortal, but he only was a titan. But with a trick, he had managed to get immortality for himself and for his family. So, and Prometheus was known to be very creative and full of good ideas. So Zeus pointed upon all these figures there and said, give them whatever you think, so that we can give them life and bring them down to earth. And just as Prometheus wanted to get started, his twin brother, Epimetheus, came pretty upset and said, this is not just. You always get the interesting tasks, and for me is only this boring stuff. Why? Let me do that. Prometheus was not fond of this idea because his twin brother was quite the opposite of himself. He was stupid. And Epimetheus saw that his brother was hesitating, so he said, well, listen, you let me do that. When I'm finished, I show you and I explain you what I've done. And if you're not satisfied, you just do it on your own. Well, yeah, we can do it like that. So Epimetheus immediately went to work. And believe it or not, he was really smart because he took care that none of the animals should neither get too many nor too little equipment. And he tried to give all of that in a good balance. So for example, an animal that he equipped with paws and strong teeth and body power would not be very fast. Whereas another animal that could not defend himself, well, this animal would be fast and could run away or just fly off. And so he equipped all the abilities in a very balanced way. And he gave a thick fur to those that were going to live in the north, and the ability to dig into the earth for those that were going to live in the heat. And some were able to dig their houses into the ground. Others got feathers or carried their house with themselves. Some were able to live in the water, others in the water and on the land. Some were just flying around. So each of these animals got a very balanced equipment. And Epimetheus took care that none of these animals could eat his own sources. So he made them eat very different kind of food. Grass or leaves or meat or whatever. So even there was a good balance. And then he called his twin brother, Prometheus, and said, hey, listen. He pointed out to all of these animals and explained what and why he had equipped them with and why others not. And Prometheus was impressed. He said, well, Epimetheus, you really did a good job. And Epimetheus was proud. But then Zeus pointed into one corner of Epimetheus' workshop and said, what is there? Oh. Epimetheus saw that he had made a huge mistake. What is this? Asked Prometheus. That's a human. A what? A human. Well, and what did you give to him? Nothing. Nothing? Forgot him. Oh, well, so give him something. No, there's nothing left. It's all gone. There is nothing I could give him. Who, said Prometheus, this human probably might not survive. With nothing, that's not enough. But we'll see how he does. So when the gods brought all these creatures down on the earth and equipped them with life, now the gods, they had their entertainments, they had their amusement. Oh, there was always some fight going on down there, and they enjoyed it. They really enjoyed it. And if it should become a tiny bit boring, oh, they would send an earthquake or a flood or a famine, and immediately there was fight going on, and they really enjoyed that. Now Prometheus felt responsible for the humans because, it was his fault that they hadn't got anything, and he saw how hard the humans struggled to survive. And so he went to Zeus and said, Zeus, listen, you know these humans have got nothing, and whatever they need, they have to pray. And if you think their prayer worth, you give that gift to them or not. I think if the humans had fire and they put some meat or animals they had hunted upon that fire, and that smoke would raise up to your nose, this would be a much more intense prayer than just kneeling down and folding hands. Oh yes, Zeus liked this idea. Of course, he did not know that Prometheus thought that humans only could survive with fire, because fire would keep them warm, fire would enable them to prepare their food to make it more digestible, and fire would enable them to create clay and pottery, and would enable them to melt metal and make weapons and knives and whatever they needed. So now Zeus and Prometheus brought fire to the people. And Zeus said, what happens this day shall never be able to be returned. So the fire that is once given to you will never be taken away from you. And now he said, well, you just hunted this beautiful animal there. Make me an offer. Yeah, Prometheus said, well, they cannot offer all of the animal to you because they need some of them for their own. So what about sharing it into, dividing it into two parts, and one is for you and the other is for the humans? Well, yeah, that's just, said so Zeus. And Prometheus took the worthy parts of this animal and stuck it into the stomach so that it looked pretty ugly, whereas he arranged the worthless parts very nicely so that this part looked not only bigger, but much more attractive. And then he asked Zeus to choose. And just as he had expected, Zeus chose the attractive part. And this was put on the fire, and the humans kept the worthy things, the worthy meat for themselves. Oh, back on the Olymp, Zeus realized that he had been cheated. And angrily, he hurried down and took the fire away from the people. Prometheus saw this with great sorrow and concern, and he secretly went into the blacksmith's thing there, stole the fire, hid it in a huge fennel plant, and just before midnight, just before this day was over, so that nothing could be taken away anymore, he brought the fire back to the humans. Imagine Zeus was angry. And he told the blacksmith god to make thick and strong chains and to lock Prometheus with hands and feet onto a huge rock in the Caucasian mountains, so tight that Prometheus would not be able to move. And not only this, he sent an eagle once a day to pick Prometheus' liver, and the wound will heal so quickly that this eagle was able to come every day and pick a new fresh liver of Prometheus. Maybe he regrets that he had become immortal. We don't know. But we know that only after 30,000 years, Zeus unchained Prometheus and set him free. And now we humans know why Prometheus is so important to us and why we should be really grateful and thankful for him.